Hey everybody, my name's Ed. Okay, it's been a couple weeks since I put on a video. I've got a new stack of comic books, pretty healthy stack there, I think. Um, but before we get to that, I did want to talk about one thing. Basically, this has to do with what happened at the Capitol a couple of weeks ago. I don't want to actually talk about the actual Capitol riots per se, but right after that. Um, it came out, there's all these photos of some of the people who stormed the Capitol, wearing like Punisher logos and T-shirts and things of that nature. And then after that, I started seeing things online where people are like, "Oh, Marvel should really do something about this, or Marvel should retire the character, or they should do this or do that." And I actually thought that was kind of interesting. I have seen people either write articles or do videos in the past, excuse me, about how it's kind of problematic to have like police officers kind of paint the Punisher skull logo on their, police cars and things like that. And I kind of get that. There's a reasonable argument to be made about that. Just regarding what type of character the Punisher is. How is this a remorseless vigilante character, shoots first, doesn't ask questions at all, and I get how that's a thing that would be troubling for depending on who you are. If you saw somebody who's supposed to be a peace officer or somebody who's there to keep the peace, showing up with that type of thing on. Um, what I found interesting, though, well, I found two things interesting. Is one thing was like, oh, Marvel should go after these people and sue them. I don't know how effective that is, although somebody has brought up the idea that, well, it was either Marvel or Disney stopped some dad or stopped some family from using Spider-Man on their kid's tombstone. The kid really loves Spider-Man, so they wanted to use it on his tombstone, and the corporation put a stop to that. But I really think that's one of those things where it's one thing to stop the, an individual, it's a whole nother thing to try to stop a mass of random people or whatever. So I don't know how effective that is. I mean, maybe you could stop a police precinct from using your trademarks. Unauthorized, but I don't know what you're going to do about like I said, just random people out there. The other thing is this idea that, Marvel really needs to do something. And I'm not so sure they do. I mean, oh, I don't think they really do need to do anything. I mean, a lot of those same people were wearing Captain America shirts and things like that. I mean, there's considerably less pearl clutching about Marvel needing to do something about Captain America, right? Although I do believe Neil Kirby, Jack Kirby's son, did make a statement, and I think, okay, that's fine, and I think that's really all that needs to be said about that. Then the other thing I remember seeing a lot of were people throwing out these suggestions, and some are serious and some not so serious. Things where, oh, they should have Frank Castle, go after like, neo Nazis and white supremacists, or they should have him do a story where he tells people, not to copy me. And the thing is, Marvel's literally done that. They've literally done stories where the Punisher has gone after like neo Nazis. They've literally did a story, I think, in the last couple of years where the Punisher tells some cops, "Hey, I'm not the guy you want to emulate. You want to emulate Captain America." Um, I think there were some joking things where people are like, "Oh, they should turn the Punisher into a woman. They should make the Punisher gay." La di da di da, har har har. I guess assuming that alt right type people um, would be turned off by it, but I'm sorry, they've literally done stories like that as well. Um, there was a female Punisher like 20 years ago, and again, I think about 20 years ago they did a story where Frank Castle literally became a black man for one story arc. So, but yeah, I don't think it's really that big of a deal. I mean, just because, like I said, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of what happened with the election. If you're a liberal and you watch my channel, great. If you're conservative and you watch my channel, that's great too. But it's this whole idea among some people, especially I'm talking about comic book fans, where it's like I'm upset that the people I disagree with or don't like the same stuff I like. Therefore, the corporation needs to do something about them liking it. Yeah. I mean, I think there are other people out there who have, like I said, a deeper concern. And like I said, there are a lot of people even removed from what happened in the last month or so, even going years back, feel that the Punisher is a problematic type character. I know Jerry Conway has actually come out where he had issues with some policemen and some people using a similar Punisher. Jerry Conway is the person who created the character, but he created that character as an antagonist. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't supposed to be a hero. But of course, subsequently, after he left Marvel, Marvel kind of flipped their portrayal of the character and made him into an anti-hero, and the character took off. He's quite popular. But what was I going to say? Oh, but Gary Conway, he's somebody that for like I don't know what, 10 years or so, or maybe even longer than that, was story editor at the Law and Order franchise. So he's not like some Antifa guy or anything like that. But I don't know. It's interesting food for thought, I guess. So, but like I said, I don't think Marvel needs to do anything but just put out better comic books. That's all they really need to do. So okay, so that's it. I don't want this video to be too long, so let's talk about some funny books. So I have here. Ah, this is U.S. Agent #2, John Walker. Okay, so the first issue was pretty fun, so we'll see where this goes. Barbalian #2. This is well, just to talk about this for just a second, this is a spin-off of Jeff Lemire's Black Hammer comic or Black Hammer universe. And basically, the main character is kind of like this. Obviously, he's an alien character, but you see, he kind of fits into that sort of what do I want to say? Martian Manhunter archetype, but he's also gay. So I don't even think the words gay or homosexual are actually been used in the comic yet. I mean, it's just obvious the way everything's being portrayed here, and it's kind of interesting. The first issue had him come down, or there's flashbacks, I guess, to like the mid '80s, and that's when you had a lot of the whole sort of act up and silence equals death. Was right here on the cover, right here. And a lot of the kind of AIDS protests and activism was going on. So it'll be interesting to see how they develop this story. So it's one of these things where if you knew what was going on or if you understand the history, it's interesting. But if you don't, I think the story still works. So, well, that's all I'll say about that. I'll wait till I get into it. We'll wait till I get into it a little bit more before I say anything else about that. Post Americana #1. Steve Gross. So all I know is that something to do with post-apocalyptic times, and that's all I know about it. But if nothing else, it'll have some nice looking art. Yeah. Then I got Red Mother #12. Let's see something here. So, okay. I think this is the last issue, possibly. It's been a very fun ride. Then I have Faithless, number 1. This is a sequel to the miniseries of Brian Azzarello and Maria Love. And it has to do with this woman here, her friend here, and then her friend's dad. I think this is her friend's dad here. I'm not sure if this is her friend's dad or if this is just some other hipster artist dude, but this young lady here is like this artist, and she kind of gets in this kind of crazy love triangle, and then maybe the dad may or may not be the devil or something like that. So it's pretty interesting. So there's this. There's number 1. Here's number 2. Here's a variant cover, number 4. That I ordered by mistake. I thought I was getting the variant orders for the variant. I thought this was number 3, basically, but I clicked the wrong button. I didn't look at what I was doing. So I did mean to get this cover, but I clicked this cover thinking it was number 3. My fault. I should have paid more attention. All right. And then here are the back issues. So Apache Skies, number 3. Apache Skies, number 4. So these are the last 2 issues of that miniseries. And then I think eventually I'll have to go back and get the previous miniseries. But these are all Marvel's like old Western heroes and stuff. And they've kind of like made them a little bit more modern and cool and badass, you know. So, Howard the Duck 1. This is a miniseries that came out, I think, around the time of, what was it, Dark Reign or Civil War or some shit like that. I can't remember. I don't think it ties in directly I don't think it ties directly to those miniseries, so I thought I'd give it a shot. This is one of these times where they're trying to redesign the character again, you know, right after Disney took over, to make him a little bit more distinct from Howard the Duck. There's a whole story about, you know, that I'm sure you've probably heard of. Here's number 2. And then I've got X-Men by John Byrne, series he did for Dark Horse Comics, early 90s, I think, late 80s, early 90s. So here's number 1. Number 2. And then number 3. Okay, and that is it. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. Everybody have a great day.